Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Huddle, a black and gold podcast with your host with the most, Mr. Gage. Ryan, how you doing, Gage?
Sensational. Here with my co-host Ron. How are you, my friend?
You know what? After this past weekend, I'm doing extraordinarily awesome. How's that?
Hard to complain. They were on. We took an offense that was on a historical pace that people were putting alongside names of the greatest offenses of all time and
Yes,
shut
they
them out
were.
like it was pretty much nothing.
Well, now, okay. First of all, before we get into anything here, first of all, let's get rid of the business end first. Thank you all very much for hopping on and tuning in and checking us out, man. We are covering the Steelers versus the Indianapolis Colts, which yours truly and Mr. Gage Ryan were at the game.
We
So
were.
there you, yeah, man, there you go. So we have firsthand account of this game for sure, for sure. But so now we're gonna talk. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the Colts and the game against the Colts, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the next game coming up. But Gage, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Your first experience with Yinzer Nation in an adult setting.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And your what was your experience like going to the game? I mean, look, getting to the actual stadium is kind of a big pita. You know what I mean?
It's
Right? But
a nightmare.
the actual stadium experience itself.
Oh man, it was my first time being back in Heinz Field in about 20 years, roughly, and it
I'm not
was
too
it was
sure. Ah,
never. Listen, it is Heinz Field
trust
until
me, I'm so
until
with
my
you.
dying
I'm
day.
so with you. I'm so with you. Okay.
No, and I mean, I appreciate that they at least gave us one ketchup bottle because if you remember at the beginning, they took all of them out. People were like, "No, you can't do that to us." So they at least gave us one, and we got to, you and I took note of it. And I think we took some pictures of it and whatnot. So it was good to see that. It was good to see the stadium, and I mean, I had a great time, like just overall, getting crammed in like a sardine into that subway was
That
quite an
really
experience that I've never had before. That was interesting. But
could definitely do
but once
without
we
that,
got
right?
there, could definitely do without that. But in terms of watching the Steelers go out there and get six turnovers against the number one offense in the NFL, it was a hard day to complain about.
Exactly. So now the next time we do it, we'll have to do we did the ferry,
Mm-hmm.
the last game we did. Now the only problem with the ferry is that it drops you off at gate A.
Mm-hmm.
Our seats are gate C.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to kind of go the whole other end of the stadium, to get to your seat. But
Which is nobody's friend.
no, and that makes it sometimes even worse. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's
Oh yeah.
easier to take the train because it just drops you off right there where our gate is. So that's the convenient part about it. The train ride, look, folks, I got to tell you something. Man, kudos to Steeler Nation and kudos to the Yinzer Pride, man, because
Mm-hmm.
that train ride was the most adventurous train ride I think I've ever been on in my life. And I've been on like Chicago subway. You know what I mean? And so I've never it's funny. And you can attest to this, Gage. The person that was driving the train on the way back had a much lighter touch, right?
There were people falling on the floor on the way there. It was quite an experience where there was like I don't know. It felt like the guy on the way there was flooring it.
Every chance. And then you're going around turns and it's like, wait a minute, this train's going way too fast around this turn. You know what I mean? And okay, all right. That was the experience of that. But otherwise, you had a great time. Like I said, it was like sitting in a big giant living room.
Oh
You got to
goodness.
you got to see the jumbotron and got to see the whole field. You know what I mean?
I was
So
baffled. The seats were better than I expected that they were going to be, and I expected them to be good. But it really did give you this kind of all 22 sort of feel. I was talking to my wife about that and about how it's good that you can see the defense kind of talk to each other in real time and see substitutions kind of happen in real time. It was a really great experience, and I mean, it's not like I didn't understand before, but I definitely understand why people make such a habit of going and seeing them in person.
now let's talk about look aside from the game. Look, the Steelers. I think uh, I really feel that there was the defense. The defense did some things that we were kind of expecting them to be doing
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the season, and we missed that the last three games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they did it this year, this game, where they started taking the ball away. We started getting the strip sacks. We started getting guys started getting through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because even though we're like seventh or sixth or seventh most blitzing team in the league right now, we're
Thank
not getting
goodness.
through. But we're not getting through. You know what I
We're not
mean?
getting through. No,
Right.
we're not getting through. And like that's this has been this I don't know if we can call this a turning point game. It certainly feels that way in some respects, but I also
I
feel like in
agree.
other respects, I'm not quite sure. If we want to talk about like just broadly about the defense in general, I think a lot of people kind of mirror these thoughts. I see some of the podcasts that I see on TikTok and whatnot that talk about the same kind of things that we're talking about right now, and they kind of have the same thoughts that we do. In that, yeah, the defense did great. Do it again. Like is this a 1 week thing? Is that like do we finally turn a
Ooh.
corner? Like do it again. Like let's see.
Yeah, right. Can you do it for me 2 weeks in a row? Here's the problem though with what happened on Sunday. Danny Dimes or Danny Nichols or Indiana Jones or whatever you want to call him. Okay. The man clearly uh was not facing a Pittsburgh defense in the first 8 games of the season.
Mm,
Okay. And throughout the whole game, because look, because I rewatched the game, I recorded it so I could come home and rewatch it and do my film study and the whole 9 yards and everything, right? And
mm,
even the announcers were saying, that the coach was saying about how, oh, Danny's been able to get us out of things and he's so fluent in this offense and he knows where to go and where everybody is and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, clearly he didn't know where everybody was on Sunday. Now, there were what, two knocked balls that ended up being interceptions, so you can't really blame those on him. But the
mm.
one that he threw right to Wilson, I mean, he threw it right to him. I mean, he was like the best receiver on that play. It was like, all right, but
That was a Madden brain interception. Does that make sense to you?
it does. It does, right? Like your overall rating, Mr. Danny Dimes, took a hit on that one for sure. He dropped back 50 times. He threw for 342 yards. He was their whole offense because
Mhm.
the defense did the job as far as stopping Taylor.
Mhm.
Taylor had 45 yards on 14 carries, right?
Can't ask for
So,
much more from
and I
that.
think he had one or two catches for a couple of yards. That was it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He was basically a non-factor in the game. Okay, but Pierce, Downs, right, and Warren, what?
Yeah,
342 receiving yards. That's ridiculous.
I
Okay.
agree. We were talking about this off camera a little bit that we weren't stopping them until we did. And I mean, this is another like kind of point of contention I see some people make after the fact is that there's some people that would have rather had us forcing punts consistently than us having six turnovers, which is not going to be sustainable long term. I don't know where I fall on that. I hate to be Switzerland on that because I kind of see both sides on that one.
Yeah, I
But
do
does that make
too.
sense to you?
Yeah, I see both sides of that, but here's the thing. If you're a team that was what, 4 for 5 on fourth down?
I think it was 5 for 5. I don't
Or
think they missed a
whatever.
fourth down
Whatever. If you're 5 for 5 on fourth down, guess what? I'm going for it every single blessed time. I don't care where I am
every
on the
time.
field. I mean, they even did a fake punt and got 4 yards. Come on. What? How? That right there is being out coached. I read a few articles over the last 2 weeks that I'm starting to see people starting to write now about the rumblings of management being frustrated with Tomlin and
Mm.
consistently not having certain things and this and that and everything else and I just keep going back to that whole thing where quote unquote I'm not going to be the one that fires Tomlin, and that was quote unquote from Rooney himself. I'm just like, well, okay then. Can you get your assistant to do it? Or can you ask Mr. Omar to do it? Or because he's a general manager? I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
I don't want to dampen things too much in that department because I really do want to give Tomlin and TA their flowers for their defense's performance this past week. But this is something I did hear a couple other people say, and I'm curious what your thoughts on it are too. But where some people they get almost conflicted when this team wins, especially like because we don't win big games very often, and call this a middle of the season game against a good team. Call it a big game or don't. But this was a pretty decent win for us,
let me ask you a
and we
question,
almost get.
Gage.
Well, it's a bit. What I just want to say is like with
Yeah, yeah,
these
go
kind
ahead.
of wins, it never quite. It's just enough, right? It's just enough that things won't change.
How do you feel about the performance of the offense in this? Let me rephrase. How do you feel about the performance of the team in this game? Do you feel it was a dominant performance, a just enough to get by performance, or uh, did they get lucky?
I don't know if lucky's the right word. If it was because Daniel Jones. I think that's the main reason because the Steeler D, we've only played him once or twice, but we absolutely torment that poor guy every time we play him. It kind of doesn't matter what team he's on. So
No,
sometimes there's just bad matchups. I feel like not to deviate too far from your point, but I feel like the Steeler defense is a good litmus test for quarterbacks. I feel like if the guys that learn how to dissect defenses and kind of know where to go with the ball, so to speak, they tend to do pretty well against the Steeler D, and guys that don't.
and he
And
actually,
I
I
think that's
mean,
on display.
342 yards.
So it's not like he did
Okay,
horribly, but it's just no pocket presence and throwing it
you know,
straight and like giving a loaf of bread to Peyton Wilson. Thank you, pal. We appreciate you.
you're right. Threw it right. I mean, he was the best
He was the
receiver on
best
that
Steelers
play.
quarterback that day.
You know, because he had what,
But
5 interceptions or 4 interceptions or something crazy like that.
I think it was only three, but he also had like two or three fumbles on top of it. Like he had five of six turnovers
Three
were his fault.
interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
3 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles for strip sacks.
Right.
So they're our crack research staff gave me that information. There you go. Thank you to our crack
Yeah.
research staff. So
But you mentioned the offense in part of that question, and I did want to circle to it a little bit. Is like I'm not as upset with the offense. I mean, I really haven't had. I think I've had one game so far this year where I was like, okay, offense, get your crap together.
yeah, right,
And I think it
right.
was the second game of the year, right, where they just kind of didn't do anything against the
Agreed.
Hawks or whoever it was. But largely, I don't have a problem. I know the running game needs to be fixed. And I mean, goodness gracious, how many years at this point have we been droning on about the run game or lack thereof? We'll have a decent game here or there. We'll have Benny Snell rush for 25 carries for like 100 and some yards every now and again and think that we've turned a corner. And then we'll just go back to having 15 carries for 30 yards and it just doesn't matter. And we're just going to put it all on Rodgers because we always do. And that's just what we do. We're on the hamster wheel in that department.
And that's kind of exactly what happened this week too, because Jalen Warren had with 15, 16 carries for 34 yards, and Rodgers
Brutal.
had 25 of 35 for 203 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, now Jalen had 2 touchdowns. Rodgers only had one. But you mean to tell me that the Steelers' offense barely put up 260 yards? I mean, are you telling me that? Really? I mean, at one point, Rodgers had like 10 completions in a row,
Yeah.
right? But he only threw for 203 yards and one touchdown, and he was sacked three times. And it was like, I even the announcers said, are the Steelers going to score more than 7 points in the first quarter this year?
No. And that partially has to do with our personnel packages, that a lot of like going with 2 and 3 tight end sets and kind of relying on bully ball and beating you down the stretch. I understand that's part of their appeal to it and whatnot. And not for not, but Rodgers seems to be content kind of doing this. Like he's either throwing it, he's either throwing a 40-yard laser directly in the bucket or it's a 3-yard check down and absolutely nothing in between. And so, like, I don't know how I feel about it, but we're all right. I'm not super upset with the offense.
Okay. I mean, they didn't, and you have to kind of give the offense credit. The
Mm-hmm.
defense kind of helped set them up and gave them short fields
Mm-hmm.
on quite a few occasions to where they were able to get what 17 points out of turnovers this game,
Something like that.
right? Okay, so the defense did kind of help set them up, give them the short field, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But once again, we still saw bad clock management. That whole last 2 minutes of the first half, they wasted their timeouts. They blew about 30 odd seconds of time, right, where they could have run a play before the end of the half or before the 2 minute warning. And because the 2 minute warning is a free timeout. Hey, it's a free one. Not only is it a timeout, but the guy down there at the corner of the field walks out with the big orange oven mitts and does this, right? So that's a TV timeout. That's an extra 10 minutes, right? Come on.
It was pretty bad, and I mean, like, so that's one thing, right? And that's a totally fair grievance. But my grievance is with the time management at the end of the game.
Uh, oh, see, look, I covered the first half, you covered the second half.
Do we work perfectly in that regard? No, but seriously, it was the fact that like we had we had a guy that was sitting a couple rows behind us that was screaming. I won't use the exact words, but freaking. Where it wasn't like
To throw the ball. Like,
take 1 seconds off the clock and just deal with it.
And what happened? What led to the Colts getting a field goal 20-7, right? Because everyone's like, when D June now, when he got it,
did it grow after?
I love it. He got that in like 45 seconds. Like, 17. Yeah, it's over, right? No, we were right. We're throwing the ball.
Same way, Tyson's overall career in one game. This counts as a fraudulent. It should have
It should have been.
I tried to start off. It was just worth praise. Like we
The other night, someone's going to ask me so there's a big column. We can see what you see past the time. Out at Calvin Austin, and that's it.
History. Touchdown with like 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I didn't realize. I only caught portions of that. So okay.
Joe Flacco's offense has scored 80 points in the last 2 games, and they've lost both of them.
Well, here's a fun fact for you. In the last 3 games, Pittsburgh has given up nearly 1,000 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And nearly 100 points.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but you're not going to live very long in this league if you're giving up that many points and that many yards in 3 games. And you're supposed to have. Now, look, I understand there is some injuries to our starting safety, right? I understand that. And I understand that that changes things, right? Because now Jalen Ramsey has now moved to safety, okay, to cover that while Elliott is out. And there's been a lot of in-game injuries for the defensive backfield, let's just say that. And I'm still utterly not happy with how that defensive backfield is playing now. It makes it easy when the ball's thrown right to you, but it was thrown to a linebacker. It makes it easy when another special teamer is able to make a an interception when a linebacker bats the ball up into the air. Right. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
none of the except for the PZ Junior interception. Right. That was really it. So I'm still concerned.
It's definitely not a done deal. I think that you can use this kind of a win as a springboard to really
Oh, I
turn your
like
season
that.
around
Yeah, I like
defensively.
that. Yep. Yep.
Or this could be a 1 week show where we go into LA against Herbert, and Herbert does what he did to us last time and the time before that. That's the thing. The Steelers are whatever they choose to be on a week to week basis.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So
They're the
so
trail mix of the NFL.
oh my gosh. Okay. So do you want to throw a prediction for the Chargers? We got Sunday night football.
Sunday night football. I want to know what do you know what Mike Tomlin's career record is in Sunday night football?
It's not too bad.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, our crack research staff is gonna hook that up for us. Is it?
He
Is
is
it?
9-12. Oh no, that's Thursday night football. I'm sorry.
Wow, the Steelers. See, that just goes to show you the Steelers have played a lot of Thursday night football games. We should not be playing that many Thursday night football games. We've lost 12 of them. Really?
We need to abolish Thursday night football. Nobody ever plays well in Thursday night football. It gets people hurt. It's not enough time to recover from the car accidents that NFL players go through. It's ridiculous that Thursday night football is even a thing.
I agree. And if you have a Thursday night football game, I think your bye week should be that week
That's fair.
or the
Yeah.
week before, so
Yeah.
that you have that 10 days before you, or the 10 days after, or something like that. All right. So Mike Tomlin's record on Sunday night.
Um. Yeah. I can't get an updated record on it, but it's all right from the couple things that I've seen. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say that I'm gonna predict a loss. I'm gonna say that we're gonna lose. That Herbert's gonna do. This is gonna be kind of like my prediction last time, where I say that Herbert's gonna do just enough, and the offense is gonna come up like just short. And I'll say 27-24
Predicting a loss.
LA.
All right.
Yeah.
So Tomlin overall record 17-8 on Sunday Night Football.
As of a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's a tough one to call.
It is because I think this is a good matchup all the way around. This is going to be a
Hmm.
good test for the Steelers. This is going to be a good test for the Chargers. I think this is going to be an opportunity for the Steelers to try to get that running game going, trying to get Jalen Warren, trying to get Caleb Johnson going. He did made some good plays in the game on Sunday. I'm going to flip the script here. I'm going to go 30-27.
30-27. You think we're gonna win?
Yeah, 30-27.
Okay.
Okay, there
Excellent.
you go. All right, how about that?
Let's hope so.
Oh yeah, let's hope so. But I feel where you're coming from though,
Hmm.
because but I'm gonna try. We're fingers crossed. You know what I mean? But
Fingers crossed, man. I hope I'm
that's
wrong.
right, Gage. Let me tell you something, man. It was an absolute pleasure um, getting to spend some time with you and the other half,
Likewise.
and we are looking very forward to doing it again, man. So thank you very much
Absolutely.
for tagging along and being part of the, you know what I mean. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate you doing that.
Hey, thank you. I wanted to thank you, and so I appreciate you bringing that up. In the meantime, that like that would not have happened. You were the complete reason any of that was put together, and I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, man. That's one of the things that we've been able to do with the blessings that we've been given, and that is this: the guy that cuts my hair, who's actually my neighbor. He I get this conversation with him every year. So, what game do you want to go to this year? And then I look on the schedule and I find out which game, and I always try to get all of the tickets. I can get up to 4 tickets, and I always try to get all of them because every time I do it, I try to take somebody who has never been to a game. The last
Mhm.
time I went to a game, I took a coworker who had never been to Acrisure Stadium. You know what I mean? And so I had done that to some other previous games where I was able to bring some folks along that had never been there, and things like that. And so I love being able to do that. And so I'm glad you guys got to enjoy your first time there at Acrisure Stadium. Heinz Field. you know,
Very much appreciated, pal. And we'll,
yeah, man.
yeah, we're gonna have to make this a thing. We're gonna have to make sure that we get Steve tagged in on one of
We
these as
got
well.
to try to do this. I've tried like a couple years now. I've tried to try to get him and to come to a game, but I understand
Trip's a
he's
little harder for him.
yeah, he's quite a few more hours away. So all right. But Gage, why don't you tell the folks where we can find all your great stuff, my man?
You can find my Yu-Gi-Oh content. There should be more of that coming soon. It's been a little while, but you can find it at Gage Ryan Video. You can find my MMA content at Contender MMA, and you can find myself, Steel, Frayne, Steve, and the rest for all of our Steeler content that isn't on this channel at Five Star Matchup.
For sure, for sure. Thank you all very much for tuning in and checking us out. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be on board for the next show here against the Chargers. So be looking forward to that, man. Can't wait, can't wait. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm your co-host Ron Mon. You can find me on X at RNJ_Media.